how to get your Ford Maverick built. 2024 Ford Maverick ordering, folks, please keep this in mind. The key constraints versus commodities, what's actually available. The XL is going to be 20% of production. The XLT is going to be 53% of production, and the Lariat is going to be 27% of production. What I can tell you from experience, from orders, and of course it differs a little from area to area. If you live in a very rich, affluential area, maybe they're going to have a lot of demand for Lariats. But in my area, there wasn't a lot of demand for Lariats. XLT, also a safe order. XL, 20%. Earlier in the live, I said 15%. I apologize. That's what it was for 2023. They've increased it. But here's the thing. All the carryovers, a lot of the carryovers are going to use up that 20% capacity. So that's going to become a constraint because the carryovers get priority. Ford has said it very clearly. We're prioritizing building the carryover orders. So if you're if you're a current order for a 23 and you're getting turned into a 24 and you want an XL, that's a-okay. If you're currently an XLT and you want to go down to an XL, I'd still say good for you. You've got a great chance of getting that built. We ordered XLT. We thought the value was there, but if now with the price increases, you're worried, well, if you're carryover, don't. You should get a special offer. But if you didn't order, let's say you did order a 2023, but not within the proper dates, or you didn't get a confirmed order. So if you didn't order between September 15th and September 20th, 2022, you're not getting a special offer. So if that price increase hurts you and doesn't work for you, you could go from an XLT down to an XL. But do know that a lot of that 20% is going to be first reserved for the true carryovers that bought before the sold out declaration that came out end of September 20th. They're like, we're sold out, it's done. But if, let's say, you're October, November, December, January, February, and your dealer is going to give you a priority 10 because you've already been waiting quite a while with a pre-order, you're probably going to fit into that XL, what's available for XLs. However, make sure you order July 17th. Make sure you order July 17th and you get a priority 10. Then I'd say you're safe for an XL. Otherwise, everyone else, play it safe, get an XLT or a Lariat to increase your chances of getting built as a 2024, because there will be no special rebate or price protection going from 2024 to 2025, because this time around, Ford's telling dealers how many of their Mavericks they're going to get, and they're also telling dealers don't sell more than that, or at least if you sell more than that, notify people that you're now, you're on a kind of a pre-order list for a 2025, and it's almost guaranteed you will not get a 2024. So Ford's telling dealers, be fair, be honest, inform your clients. So much hate on YouTube and towards the manufacturers when most of the time it's really just bad dealers. Almost all of what I watch on YouTube, I can say, I almost scream at my computer. I'm like, no, it's not Toyota, it's not Dodge, it's not Ram, it's not Jeep. The problem is the manufacturer the customer did business with. And unfortunately, at a lot of dealers, you have to be ready for battle when you go to the dealership. And you have to fight to get the right price. And that's why I'm a huge fan of a hybrid model between Tesla's order from the dealer system and Ford's current or Ford, all the traditional dealership systems. I think the perfect system is a mix between both. That the dealership has no power over price because everyone gets the right price, and that puts the power back to the consumer. It means you don't argue and fight with 5 different dealers for 1 to 2 hours at each dealer, burning out the dealer, only encouraging them because some people are really tough bargainers and, really, yell and swear and get rough. And sometimes bargain for an hour, 1 week, a bargain for another hour or two, another week, and just keep hounding for price for weeks at end. Well, that only encourages the dealerships to have to say, well, we got to go on, if we're going to get beaten up, we got to go on wearing pads. We got to get ready for battle too. So both parties go in for a battle. It's nasty stuff. I think that those hours wasted should be spent on everyone getting the same price, but you pick the dealer that gives you the best service. The dealer that's factual, smart, helpful, polite, gives you a great service, goes the extra mile. And then, they'll compete for, maybe they'll give you, a bottle of wine and say, take the husband or the wife out to dinner on us. They'll compete for your attention, for your business with quality service. I think we'll all gain from getting price out of the equation. Now, engine production estimated mix. 2.5 liter hybrid engine, 35%. Most of those are going to be going to carryovers. If you're a day one, new order, so July 17th, I think you're safe. If you're a day two, probably safe. I don't know how fast yet these are going to sell out, so I will get back to everyone trying to figure out, looking at data, doing a little bit of rough math, try to figure out where roughly the sellout point was. Last year for the 23, I said if you're day one, day two, you're safe. If you're day three, so, and if you're day four, forget about getting a hybrid. And I think for most dealerships, that has turned out to be unbelievably true. It was a very good assessment on my part. I make mistakes, but that time I think I can pat my back. Of course, some people were day four and just randomly got built. These things happen, but generally overall day four hybrid order, you're not getting it. Now it's your turn to get a 24. So now is a good time to stay a hybrid if you're a carryover. Hello, M. Peugeot. Thank you very much for making it to the show. And the poodle is currently sitting on Marie's lap and constantly distracting me by licking my elbow. But we're getting business done. We're getting the business done. Yes, Winston, we're talking about you. He's right. You can see his puff of hair there. Now, EcoBoost engines, they're going to be able to make more of these, and they're going to make more 2024 Ford Mavericks. So currently production for the hybrid is 50% hybrid builds to EcoBoost builds. But what's going to happen is they're going to be able to build a whole lot more Mavericks. So what's going to happen is they're going to be able to build a whole lot more EcoBoost, and probably the battery supply issue is going to be, they're probably predicting it's going to stay similar or be a little bit better. That's why it's sitting at 35% instead of still being a 50-50 mix. They're going to build more Mavericks, but they can only build as many hybrids as they get batteries. Now, recall back in 2021, September 2021, and October 2021, I started pretty consistently saying that I thought we had a hybrid battery issue. Everything was lips tight. There was nothing official, but through deduction and logic, I said it very much makes sense that the hybrid is the issue. We're not getting enough of them. We saw it with the Escape, with her 2022 Escape order that we never ended up getting. So we switched to a Maverick thinking that would go better. But then when I discovered the battery, I was like, so you want an EcoBoost? And I had sold her on the idea of a hybrid, unfortunately, because originally Marie didn't want a Maverick. Then I talked to her and showed her some photos, talked about, the positives, and you're like, I want to buy an EcoBoost. And I was like, well, no, actually for your driving, you do all city. You should get a hybrid. And I sold her on the hybrid. My mistake, because then I sold her so well, she could not be convinced of taking an EcoBoost.
Yeah, it's hard to go back to the fuel.
18 months. So, package option, production estimated mix, Tremor off-road package, 10%. 2023, nowhere near that. So you should be safe. Mind you, my Tremor orders, for whatever reason, I only got one of the 5 or 6 I put in the system. Maybe that's a regional thing. I know Tim Bartz from Long MacArthur Ford got a bunch of Tremors. So we'll see. On paper, you order a Tremor, not a problem. It actually kind of is a good fast track way, quite possibly, of getting a Maverick. Really just EcoBoost is fast track, but not an XL. EcoBoost XLT or EcoBoost Tremor or EcoBoost Lariat, all great ways to get a Maverick quick. And it's still worth the money. There are price increases, but it is still worth the money. The XL's gone up roughly $800. The XLT hybrid option is $1,500. And then if you just want an XLT, it's also gone up roughly $1,500. So the XLT hybrid has gone up pretty much $3,000. Way to save money, get the EcoBoost. Still think it's a fantastic vehicle at the price. You know, everything's gone up in price, unfortunately. The WB makes a really good point, and I agree with him completely. The best resale value is going to be on the XLT, and I completely agree. F-150s, that has always also been the case, year after year, decade after decade. Eric Kizel, you can live vicariously through us because we ordered, I waited 2 weeks and no one ordered a Bronco Raptor. And I kept kind of at work hinting like, I really think the Bronco Raptor is really cool. And, you know, one of the owners kept saying, I don't understand how no one has ordered the Bronco Raptor. And then eventually he was like, you know what? You're kind of like a Raptor guy. It fits who you are. And I was like, I know, I really like the Ranger Raptor. And he's like, well, do you want to order one? And I was like, can I? And he's like, well, it's been, I think it was like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. He's like, it's been a while. We haven't had anyone ask any questions about it. So yeah, we're getting one. You can have it. And I could have hugged him, but I didn't because he wouldn't have liked that. But yeah, I could have hugged him. Very happy. So if you want a Ranger Raptor, big negotiation is make sure the dealer's being honest with you. The negotiation is just figuring out if the dealer is being honest, because some dealers will, you know, sell 15 when they're only going to get one. So you need to make sure best you can that they're realistic with how long it could take to get one. Now, FX4 package, 10%, shouldn't be an issue. Black appearance package, 10%. I don't know. I will leave that. I'll comment on that another day, but so far I want the precise list of where. I don't have that on me right now, but I have it somewhere through the notes, and I don't want to make you wait 1 or 2 minutes while I look for it. But I don't think the black appearance package is going to be an issue, but I don't have those numbers directly in front of me. 4K tow package, 20%. We'll see. This year was an issue because at one point because of, you know, potential recall. But we'll all have plenty of time to be able to, you know, remove 4K. What we won't be able to do, because it will affect the whole, you know, people who've got moving forward, it's going to be important for us not to switch from XL to XLT once your 24 order is in. So make sure you get it right, because it's going to change the body code. Changing trims will change the body code, and that looks, traditionally changing the body code put you back at the beginning of the list. You lost your spot in line. So it's going to be important to get your order right. But 4K tow package, if you need it, it's not even a question, really. I'd say only get 4K tow package if you need to tow more than 2,000 pounds. Why pay more? Why take the risk of something maybe taking longer if you don't definitely need it? We're fine with your Maverick having 2K. We've got another truck. 2K tow package, 65%. Now, last year there were times where the demand for hitches were much higher than the supply, and they always did go towards first to the packages, because the packages, you know, you're forced to have them. So Ford isn't going to just stop building XLT luxury packages. It has a tow, they're going to send the tow there. So important to keep that in mind. You can Google what the constraints for 2023 were and assume that people are still going to order in the same amounts, the same percentages, but then look over at what the new package production estimated mix is, so you can figure out what's the right build for you. And of course, always think what your need is. If you need 4K, who cares if it's how long it's going to take? Order it with the 4K if that's what you need. Now, we're not going to cover, you know, very thorough notes. We're not from Ashtang on Ford Maverick Truck Club. We're not going to cover everything that dealers need to do, but you can go and read that just to make sure your dealer knows what these things are and will be doing these things. Now, of course, your salesman, that's not part of his job. he'll probably should say, maybe he knows, but if he doesn't know, it's okay. Don't beat him up for it. He'll need to talk to his sales manager and be like, do we COVP? And if the sales manager is like, no, we don't do that, well, then we've got a real problem. So, okay to buy October. They're probably going to start building these, if I recall, in November. So we still have a lot of 2023 production coming up. We still have a lot of people that are going to get assigned 2023s. So what do? You've been waiting already for your 2023 for a while. You're going to put in a 24 if you haven't been scheduled yet. If you haven't been scheduled with a VIN number, you need to put in a 24. And if ever you get a 23 build date, well, then Ford and the dealership are going to remove your 2024. But you need to do the carryover if you haven't been assigned a VIN yet. If you have been assigned a VIN and a build date, a VIN is a vehicle identification number. If you have, then you've got nothing to worry about. Life is good. Now, it's great because this note, locally, we even have every customer sign a sheet that says we can't guarantee you a build. And it's actually, Ford wants it in part of the documents they take in. They want to see that the dealer had the customer sign saying we can't promise you a build date. We can't promise you a price, and that's in case you get switched over to the next year. There's all these, basically, in case your dealership has lied to you horribly, here are the facts. And Ford wants that sheet signed. So there's a lot of YouTube videos beating up on Ford. Ford folks, I can tell you, they're putting every system and check into place that they can to get these, vehicles sold and ordered properly. And people are like, how can, since sometimes people, fair enough, will comment like, well, they assume it's just very easy for Ford to control their dealerships. Remember, folks, these are separate dealerships. And imagine if you're 100% responsible in everything your child did, even your 45-year-old child. Imagine if everything they did was 100% reflected and blamed on you. Well, that's maybe kind of how Ford feels right now. They've got they've got a big family, 3,300 dealerships. That's like 3,300 kids. Some of them are bad. But then YouTube will look at, let's say 10% are bad. Well, YouTube likes to focus on the 10% are bad and kind of really focus and show all the bad stuff that 10% is doing. Well, I'd hate to be a parent that has 10 kids, or even my brother has 10 kids, but let's say you're a parent that had 5 kids. Well, any parent out there that has 5 kids, probably a good percentage of them will say one of them is a real jerk. That's about as much towards swearing as I'm going to get for tonight, but a real jerk. And it's not fair to then blame the parent for everything. That's just sometimes how they turn out. So that's enough kid versus dealership talk, but I think it's not an analogy. I can't remember the term for when you compare in this manner, but I'll use the term incorrectly and say an analogy, even if it's not correct, and say that it's a good analogy for the situation. So July 17th, order banks open up. Really important.